On a recent trip, I visited the small English town of Rye in East Sussex. My main reason for the trip was to visit an exhibition being held at a National Trust property called Lamb House, where they were having an exhibition called Ghost Written, and I decided to turn this into a short overnight spooky stay. So I arrived on a Monday and I was staying in the Mermaid Inn. So the Mermaid Inn is a 600-year-old hotel that is situated on Mermaid Street. So just the aesthetic of the place is really beautiful. It's like stepping back in time. And the inside as well, it looks like it hasn't been changed since it was rebuilt. So all the rooms in the hotel are named after a smuggler, which I think is a really cool, quirky detail for the hotel. The reason they're all named after a smuggler is because the Mermaid Inn has a connection to a smuggling gang called the Hawkhurst Gang, which operated in the 1700s and used the Mermaid Inn as their main base. My room was named after a smuggler called William Carter, who was from Hampshire, like me, so that was quite a fun connection. And once I dropped my bags off, I decided it was time to go for a little explore. Morning, so I'm in Rye today. So I arrived yesterday and I stayed the night here in the Mermaid Inn. So it's a 600-year-old hotel. I was reading the welcome pack yesterday and it just gives a little bit of information about the inn. So it was built in, or was rebuilt in 1420, but it's got cellars dating back to 1156. So I'd heard of this I think it was last year actually, on another video. Someone stayed here for the night, and it was just coincidence that I ended up booking this inn because there's an exhibition at a National Trust place literally just around the corner that I wanted to go to, and I decided this was a little bit too far to do in one day without being lots of driving. So I thought, I'd take the opportunity to stay in this supposedly haunted hotel. So I didn't experience anything, didn't have any ghostly encounters, but the building itself is super lovely. It's got like old beams. It's a bit of a maze, like going from your room like downstairs. There's like 30 odd rooms here, and you can hear like everything, lots of creaking and stuff. Like it's an old building, the walls are quite thin. That's why I'm trying to speak quite quietly as well. I'm really conscious of being noisy. So I just had breakfast, which was very nice. They've got like 2 lounge rooms and a restaurant, which you can eat in there for lunch and dinner as well. So I'm just staying for the one night. I've got to check out at 11, which is also the same time that Lamb House opens. So I'm just gonna get my stuff together. I think it's only 10 o'clock at the moment. So it was super windy when I arrived yesterday. So I managed to do a bit of filming, but I'm not sure how good it will be. It might be a bit shaky because even with my tripod, the wind was just really strong. But I had a walk around yesterday, went to the castle here, which I'll put on the screen because I'm not sure how you pronounce this. But that was only £5 entry and it was really interesting. Again, that's another really old building. Used to be a prison, a mortuary as well for the town. So yeah, I'd recommend checking that out if you're here as well. Rye itself is really small. The famous part of it, Mermaid Street, is literally right here outside my window. And that's like the main tourist attraction. So you have Mermaid Street, Mermaid Inn, then the castle is up the hill, and that's also where Lamb House is. But you're near the harbour too. I didn't have too much of a look around that area yesterday where it's so windy. But it's really nice. You can definitely do everything in one day if you get here early. But it's just nice to come down and not have to be in a rush to drive back. So I thought it'd be just a nice little one night trip. But yeah, I'm gonna get my shoes on and head out soon. And we can go check out this exhibition. I find visiting places like this, places with lots of history or exhibitions on other creatives, really inspiring. And it motivates me with my own work. I wanted to visit the exhibition being held at Lamb House in particular, as I've always loved ghost stories or anything to do with that genre. As a child, I'd always ask the adults in my family if they'd ever seen a ghost, or I loved like reading those sort of true paranormal stories, unsolved mysteries books that I could get out of the library. And the personal projects and work that I like to create all tend to be inspired by my like lifelong love of the sort of spooky genre, the sort of paranormal or the like dark side of history. And that's why I love like going on these sort of trips where you can sort of find out the sort of people that lived in a place, especially if there's some connection to like a ghost story or just sort of interesting history. I feel like there's just so much you can get from places like this that sort of fuel my imagination. Yeah, and it's just a lovely house as well. Like all the National Trust places are lovely, and there's so many of them in the UK as well. Lucky that we still have so many in such a good condition. So yeah, I'd recommend visiting this if you're ever in Rye. Yeah, it's just in one small room upstairs, so it didn't take very long to have a look, but it had some really interesting bits and pieces, and just finding out more about these writers and other writers that I didn't really know much about before this trip. So I spent the morning in Rye. I went to Lamb House. It was really nice there. They had a really nice garden, and the exhibition was interesting on the authors that had written ghost stories there. but it wasn't very big, so I was sort of done within an hour. So it's 12:30 now, and I've just driven to Bodiam Castle, which is about half an hour away from Rye, and I thought I'd go there on the way home. It's like a little bit of a detour, but it's a really cool castle. It's got a moat around it. The grounds look really big actually as well, so I'm gonna go check that out, find out the history of this castle. I don't know anything about it, so it should be an interesting addition to this trip.